Hi, rock stars. This is Beth Azor. I wrote a book called The Retail Leasing Playbook. This podcast will go over a few chapters each week to discuss the highlights of how you can lower your vacancy and increase your occupancy. I hope you enjoy it. Hey, rock stars. This is Beth Azor, and this is my podcast, The Retail Leasing Playbook. This is where I go over chapter by chapter in my book, The Retail Leasing Playbook, and give you the cliff notes of what I was trying to say in the book. Today, we're going over chapter 61, super important chapter. It's called Do the Math. So even though I was a president of a company, even though I run an $80 million portfolio, there were times in my past where I had no idea about reading financial statements, understanding Argus, understanding values of the properties, because, I was an English major. I never took an accounting class. I certainly understood economics and supply and demand. And as I grew in this business, I started to learn about income and expenses and reading financial statements, especially from my prospects. But if you are in the camp that I was, that you're unsure of the math, you've got to learn how to do the math. The good news about our business is it's not that hard to learn and understand the math necessary for us to do what we do, right? You should know what cap rates are. You should know how to calculate cap rates. Certainly, you want to know how to calculate your commissions. You should be able to look at a tenant's business plan and read their tax returns and read their income and expense statements so you know if they're making money. But if you fall into the camp that and I'm a big believer that focus and double down on the stuff you're great at and don't really worry about the stuff you're not great at, except for this one. I took multiple classes. I took the CCIM valuation class. I think ICSC did something called Financials for Dummies. I really did a lot to improve my understanding of financials and understanding of the math. And I highly recommend that you do the same thing. It's not a lot. And once you get it down pat, you'll look back and say, wow, why did I procrastinate on this? But you need to know the math. So, and again, if you can't find anything to help you, go to Khan Academy. Khan is spelled Khan. And it's got some great resources there on accounting, finance, some video tutorials. So check that out. So do the math, folks, chapter 61. Have a great week. Thank you for listening to this week's podcast. I hope you learned a few nuggets to help increase occupancy and lower vacancy. See you next week, where we'll go over a few more chapters of my book, The Retail Leasing Playbook.